Evening in Nairobi, and I am so grateful to have you here. If you're just logging on, please do tell us where you're logging on from. I know a few people are still coming in, but if you're online and you're watching, tell us where you're watching from so that we know that you are with us and that you are ready to enjoy. I have an amazing, awesome show in store for you today, and we are excited to have you here. I know you're probably looking at me and wondering, that's not where I usually see Rina. First of all, my name is Rina Hicks, and I am the host of Moneywise and director at FIDA Investment Bank. And I am at Nairobi's iconic building, the Old Mutual, UAP Old Mutual Towers in Upper Hill. It's gorgeous. And I came here and I said, I must shoot a video here. So I'm so grateful and so thankful to the entire team at UAP Old Mutual for enabling us to host our show today. So keep telling us where you're watching from. Today's show, we are looking at what moves do we need to make in the different phases of life. Life is about seasons, and embracing those seasons as they come. And I have with me a fantastic guest to discuss this topic. And with me, I have Dr. Edward Odundo. Dr. Odundo is a friend, but a serious Kenyan. He is, I don't even want to make a mistake, so allow me to just read who he is. He's a director of the School of Pension and Retirement Studies. He's also the chairman of the Public Service Superannuation Scheme. He's a director of Equity Bank Group, and director in several other companies, and a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. He's a brilliant Kenyan, but most importantly, an absolute gentleman, and it's such a pleasure to have you on this show.
Thank you, Rina.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, in 2017, I actually told you this earlier. In 2017, I heard you say something, and you were so clear, and you expressed such concern, and you said that 80% of Kenyans are retiring poor. At that time, you were the CEO of the Retirement Benefits Authority, and I guess being exposed to what was happening in terms of how much we have in savings that Kenyans had saved at that time, you expressed serious concern about the way that we were focusing on short-term savings and catering for our now and not focusing on our future. And so I thought it would be great to have you to come and discuss this topic and to sort of see what should we be thinking about when you're in your 20s to 30s. What are some of the things you should be doing when you're 30s to 40s, 40s to 50s, and so on. But before we get to all of that, I want you to also tell us a little bit about yourself, some of the details I may not have shared, and then we can get into it.
Thank you very much. I think you've introduced me. Apart from that, I'm also a retiree. So I was there as a regulator for the pension and retirement in the country, and also the president of the World Pensions. And now that I'm a retiree, I'm able to discuss with you what happens when you have retired and what the theories were. Because I personally believe some of the policies I used to put in place don't work when you have retired.
Okay.
They're completely different. Because when you're on that side of this, the coin is completely different of what you are while you are giving up policies. So that is just the beginning. So I'll be able to tell you both sides of the story.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to hearing what are those policies that don't work, that perhaps we are following at this age because we heard it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, most of the time you'll see people saying that, pension is the first and the most important.
Okay.
For purpose, anybody who's going to retire. But I've repeated it several times in my lectures. 5 mantras, but you can add the rest. That pension is not the most important.
Okay.
The most important is medical cover. Because at that time, you find that for almost 40 years, I myself was taken care of by the employer. Then all of a sudden, this comes to an end. And imagine a situation whereby in a country like Kenya, where you go to hospital, you have to produce an insurance card. So it's important to have a medical cover. And that's why I'll say to people, when you make sure you start early, preparing for your retirement, think at the end. Because most of the time when you're young people, they don't think about retirement. When I was in RBA, we used to have shows, Nairobi shows, and if you go to the stands, we had the central bank stand, the RBA stand, the insurance stand. And look at the people going there. All the young people are going to central bank stand because they could see money. Then insurance, a bit of them, retirees, they were passing, not interested. Yet that's where they're heading to. So, and I say post-retirement medical cover I introduced it at that time. I was one of the first people who got it. And I can tell you UAP is one of the companies who have set up a post-retirement medical cover as a result of what I have done.
Yeah.
And that means that you pay, it's like if you're a young person, an example, somebody over the age of 20, 25, they'll pay close maybe 1,000, 2,000 per month for the next 40 years. So but when you reach 40 or when you reach 60, you stop paying because you've accumulated the amount required for you to buy yourself a cover for the rest of your life. And the good thing about it, you can take one which is joined to your spouse, like I did that. So basically after retirement, we are covered. We don't pay any annual premiums for medical because it's one-off. So I urge the young people to think about it because now you are taken care of by the employer, but at that time, nobody will take care of you. So if you put this money in now, at that time when you reach 60, you stop paying. If anything happens to you in between, the amount will be paid back to your beneficiaries. So still, you don't lose with some interest.
Okay.
So that's the first thing that you need to do. The second thing you need at retirement is liquidity, not assets. We have buildings like this and others where there are no tenants. So you need cash, not assets. Land, you can have land, and that land, nothing is happening to that land. You're not able to sell. I have some land at the lake which has been swallowed by water.
Oh dear.
So you see, so some of those things, you reach a point whereby those material things don't matter. You need cash. And that's where pension comes in as number 2, whereby you're being paid on a monthly basis for the rest of your life. But pension also is not enough because it's like 10% of what you've accumulated. So if you accumulate 10 million, you'll be getting less than 100,000. Then plus KRA tax and everything. And most people will be getting that kind of money. Maybe they're earning close to 1 million shilling and above. So already, if you're earning 1 million or if you're earning 500,000 or 200,000, for instance, take an ordinary Kenyan, they'll have accumulated about 8 million or 6 million. They'll be only getting 80,000. And when he was working, he was getting close to 200,000, 400,000. So 80,000 can't help them. So pension, as we talk so much about it, it's not enough. And that's why I say, because already you have lost your income. Anybody who is employed is assured of income every month. You have lost that difference between 100 and whatever is gone. Then all of a sudden, you realize you have nothing. So I say, please start something which will supplement that pension. The pension is good, at least it comes every month, at least you can do small things. But it's not enough. So you need to start a business of your choice. And I always say, start something you have a passion for, so that you don't put in a lot of effort. It's something you can do without a lot of effort, and you like it, something you like. Not that you've been forced to do it. So it's very important you start something you have a passion for, and you'll be able to enjoy what you are doing, and you make something to keep you going. Then in retirement, I advise that please don't go into retirement with a loan, because you'll not be able to pay. So that monthly income which used to come doesn't come anymore. I'm in consultancy. I do business for government and other institutions. They don't pay immediately. They can take 5 months, 6 months before they pay you. So if you had a mortgage, you'll not be able to meet the monthly payment. So make sure that you're able to pay off this. And I'll be talking about the age gap, so you're going to start consolidating. And once you do that, I say, okay, so the next thing is best to try and be very close to your family, because at that age, most of your family members leave. And if you are not with them earlier, then you have a challenge. So make sure that at least you are able to be with them. The ladies are better off, they have the way they socialize. The men don't, because immediately they retire, they're on their own. And it becomes a very, very big challenge. So those 5 mantras, people should have them. And again, I'm 64. I always believe I can't double my years. So I have to make sure that I'm closer to God. Where I'm going is nearer than where I came from. So these are things that are reality of life. So that is quite critical. So, so those are things people should consider. But coming back to your question, looking at the different age groups, I say the people, young people going to school, 20 and the rest. Yeah, so let's start with the 20s to 30s. 20 to 30, basically 20, 25. To 30. Yes, people around that age, they're basically going to school. And I will say, please make sure that you do well in school, because that's really what matters for you. And these are people, I say, they are value seekers. Value seekers. Value seekers. People who want to, anything they buy, how much am I paying for? If you're going to buy chicken, is it enough? The quantities, because they're just value seekers. They want to make sure they have something. So that keeps them trying to look for what to do. Then the next group, okay, is these are young adults who are they're trying everything. That's 25 to 30. 25 to 30. I always say these are a group which should take any risk. Try everything. Fail, come up, fail and rise up. If you see opportunities, if you see gaps, those are opportunities, okay? Anytime you see gaps and you see something like complaints, those are opportunities. Don't just dismiss them, okay? So, and I say mistakes also is a source of revenue. So those mistakes help. So when you go somewhere and you see those gaps, you see the people complaining, take up those as an opportunities. So at that age, you are ready to take risk and to try most of the things. And that's why you find at that age, those are people who are ready to go for shares and such kind of investments. They will not go for property to take time. So at that age, they're free, they try everything. They want to buy bonds, they want to buy shares, they want to buy so many things. So I advise that this age, you are ready to take risks, even at family life. And although it's a very fine, that's why I find most young people, especially young ladies, they have boyfriends, the boyfriend leaves them, they're heartbroken. If you are drinking a cup of tea and the cup breaks, you stop drinking tea? You don't. You look for another one and you move on. So don't stress yourself, that's the end of life. So you move on. I lecture students at the University of Nairobi, but no, don't get stressed. This is an age you can move on. And I said, why not? Then the next age is the young families. Young families,
so 30s to 40s. Yeah, you're starting a family.
You're starting a family.
Getting married.
They're getting married. There are those challenges. Every now and then you have to go to the clinics, things you are not used to, needing to get roots. And it becomes a challenge, you know. And that's the time, these are people I say, they try to accumulate wealth. You see, these are wealth accumulation stage. So we have the value seekers that's in the school, then the young adults who are basically wealth seekers, then now we have these ones who are coming in as the wealth accumulation. They want to accumulate for their children. Because every time you say, a mother, I want this for my child, I want this for my daughter. So they start accumulating. So this is a stage of accumulation. I call them gatherers. Gather. Yet we know at the end of the day, these children will scatter everything. So you have the gatherers and the scatterers. So you're all gathering, but you know, somewhere along the way. But that is accumulation stage, where everybody wants to accumulate for the future, for the children.
So what are some of the things, you know, that stage is, we call it the turbulent 30s.
Correct.
I mean, it is turbulent. You have 3 kids, maybe under 4. You're not sleeping. You know, it's tough. You're trying to do a course or another to be able to get to that next level in your career. You know, you have a husband who you're still trying to make things work with at that stage. You know, you're kind of the dream stage in the wedding, then the marriage is gone. You know, you have an employer who's giving you pressure and targets. I mean, you know, when you think about all the obligations that you have within that phase, how do you accumulate, and not just accumulating so that it's for the children, but also for your own future?
Yeah, that is the stage you find people have a lot of challenges, because you want to accumulate at the same time. You also have school fees to pay. But I always say it's a good stage because your children will humble you. Because even if you have got some pride, they'll find a child doing things that you don't normally do, then you find yourself, there's nothing you can do, it's your baby. Even if your mother-in-law comes and then say, okay, the child starts crying, you're told, oh, this is yours, take it, go and look after it. So you're put in a situation where by now you must make your own decision. It is you running the show. The house is no longer your parents' house, where everything is being provided for. You have to make sure that you have everything. So it really keeps people going in terms of looking for how you manage yourself. And it's a difficult stage. And that's why you find at that stage a lot of separation also takes place, because the pressure is so much, and you're trying to balance, and it's very difficult. But if you go through some of these talks that we have, it makes people realize that, yeah, this is a stage I'll pass, maybe I need to look at it differently. Because if you're not aware of it, then you think it's a pressure, your pressure is too much on you. And I advise that once you reach that stage, know that you're no longer the same, things are changing, and try as much as possible, see where, and that's why I say, start towards the end. You have a child who's going to school. And I always advise at this stage, make sure that you don't stop career development. I was doing my PhD while I was married, I was working. Make sure, because that's the only way you can upgrade yourself. To reach a point where you become a doctor, you can go and teach. Try and do so many things at the same time. Not just sitting there waiting for one employer. Try and do a few things that you can do for yourself so that you generate more revenue to keep you going on. So it's a very critical stage.
So important. Yeah, I've heard the phrase said, one income is too close to none.
Yes.
And you have to constantly find ways, how can I increase my income or grow what I have?
And I advise, do many small things. You don't have to make 30,000 here, 20,000 here, 30,000 here, and it keeps you going.
And for that age, what would you suggest in terms of investment options?
Yeah, you see, like I said, that age before you reach 50, you can take a bit of risk on shares and whatever. Properties are good because you can have a mix. And I always say it's good to have a mix, because with a mix, you're able to retain some, the return on property might be low, but you're sort of assured of it, but it's not 100%. And then the returns on shares can also be good, but again, share prices are others. The bond can be, right now bonds are doing very well. So if somebody had bonds, maybe that's where they put some investments, and it really helps a bit. I chair the Public Service Pension Scheme. We've just done 1 year, and we have accumulated 25 billion.
Already?
Yeah, and in 1 year we've made 3 billion because we just invested in bonds.
Yeah, the returns
nothing
are
else.
really good.
The returns were good.
Yeah, the returns are really good.
Yeah.
So I think we're done with 30s to 40s, and we've kind of seen what needs to happen. Yes. So now we're going to our 40s.
You only go to 40 to 50. You start, when you reach 45 going onwards, start thinking about consolidation. Because once you reach the age 50,
already?
Once you reach age 50, it's voluntary retirement. You're allowed to retire voluntarily. So you see the time is so short that you're going to reach 30 to 50. At 45, by 45, you realize if you tell people they have not done much, he's not married at 50, he's not done anything at 45, they start getting worried, you know? So, and that is the time you're trying to consolidate. So once you reach 50, start consolidating so that by the time you reach 60, you have no debts. Because if you don't consolidate, you stand a risk of losing even what you have accumulated over a period of time, because you go into retirement with a mortgage, you have not finished paying. The money you're getting every month doesn't come as you expected.
Right.
The banks will sell the house, and they have no beef about that.
No.
You don't pay for 3 months, it's gone, yet you've been paying for the last 10 years. So consolidate the little you have, sell a few things that you can sell.
So when you say consolidate, yes, just so that those who are listening are able to kind of get an understanding, what exactly does that mean?
What I mean by consolidating, let's assume that you have accumulated a mortgage here, you have a piece of land there, you have small things, and they're all hanging. The land is not developed, the mortgage is not fully paid, the car is maybe not fully paid. So you release some things.
Okay.
Yeah, don't hold on them. Yeah, you release them, generate funds to clear some, so that certain things are loan-free. Than you having a bit of everything, and you find at the end of the day there's nothing you're doing with them. So look at some things that you can release. Be at a point that now, I think I can release this land. Whatever I generate, I finish that small loan I have there. And you feel free. Because than having this one you're paying, that one you're paying something small, the other one you're paying something small, and it becomes a challenge. You cannot make it. So you decide to release certain things, sell them off, and consolidate, and now have a few that you know, this one now I don't have a loan, maybe the matrimonial home I can stay on, all I need is money to eat. So
for somebody who, still within that age, doesn't have debt, what would consolidation look like for them?
You see, by that time when they're doing the consolidation, it means that whatever money they had has gone into these other things they are paying off. You know, you have to sort of pay off your liabilities, because you know when you're growing up, you accumulate a lot of liabilities, cooperative loans, the loans to do school fees, these loans, and then you reach a point where these things are not fully paid. And you're going to the phase where the income is going downwards. So you must say, these things I can keep, this one I can let go. But you don't hang on them. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess you're also trying to see where you can generate some capital. Yes. For cash flows. Correct. That can come later. You need some cash flow. So land, like you can, you know, some people have 6 pieces of land in many different places in the country. Yeah. They need to sort of... Yes, you just maybe retain a few. Yeah. You release others, put something there to generate income. Then having them hanging all over and they're not doing anything. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so let's go to the next phase. So that's 50 to 60. Yeah, once you've reached the 60 age, that age, if you have done well, take it easy. Go to the beach, enjoy yourself. If you have the money. The little that you have. Yeah, no, just because you find that, like now I'm at 60, we are most of the time left with my wife, we're just the two of us. So you say, okay, fine. Today we are going to Karura for a walk. We walk in the forest there. At the end of the day, we go to the riverside cafe and just take it easy. Yeah. You don't want more stress. Yeah. So it becomes a life that you need to take it easy. But at least have some little things to keep you going other than just sitting. So it's really an age that you don't need pressure. Because at that age, even your health cannot be the same. You know, you've worked your body all this time. So many diseases start coming in, you know. You have a pharmacy in the house. So a lot of small things. Yeah. So at that age, you really don't need much pressure. Because with much pressure, then you will not live long. Yeah. But keep yourself busy.
So for those who are 50, not yet 60, and they're kind of entering that season of their life where they need to start, sort of thinking about what to do so that by the time they're 60, 65, they're able to then take things easy.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you would encourage them to do?
I always say it's never too late.
Okay.
You can always start at any age. I always give an example of the guy who started KFC. He started KFC at age 88. And why? Because KFC, he liked cooking chicken. And that's something he found easy to do, And all of a sudden, he had a recipe which sold. And the thing went wild. So at any age, you might look for what you can do without pressure. It's maybe something that even your parents used to push you and you do it and you didn't like it, but now you are the best. You've added value. Just add some small value to a normal thing, people will pay for it. Yeah, you come with milk, you have some, these days you have water, somebody say you have water, which is orange. Yes, value, your ice cream, you add some value, say, okay, you have this pineapple. So the small value added. So you add value to a normal thing, people will pay for it. Interestingly, the money will follow you.
Okay. So there's something we were discussing, and before I take a quick break, I want to discuss this issue. We have a trend that is very interesting at the moment. You have 30, 40-year-olds, particularly men, who are still staying with their mom or dad and are not moving out and are having the time of their lives. Some work, some decide they don't feel like working, but we have that challenge, particularly in the middle class in this part of the world.
I'll give you my own perspective, where I see it.
Yes.
I lecture students at the university, very young ones, ladies and gents. And I find that the ladies are sort of stronger than the men. And I was finally asked, why research what happens. One thing that I've come to realize is the girl child, for a long time we were saying they are not taken care of. So, but then the girl child, the parents or the mothers really make sure they work. You go, they multitask so many things. So if they go home, they are told to do a few things. So in the process, they become stronger. The boy child is mommy's, daddy's, mother's boy, papa, daddy, everything. He's being praised all the time.
Yeah.
He's not given much. He's given a computer to go and run away with it and keep himself busy. Maybe the daddy refused to give him money, the mother will give them money. So these guys just grow up knowing that I'm taken care of. Taken care of like a baby, now he's been taken care of like an adult. He cannot grow. So he doesn't see himself surviving on his own. He's got his own room, he can clock himself there, so what? And then he knows, even if they are sisters, they always disbelieve that all the wealth there is theirs. The sisters will go and get from their husband. But mine, everything here is mine. So he's waiting for you guys to go. But you're not going. So all he has to do is hang around and wait for the day you go. But so you have young people who are no longer stronger than they used to be. They don't want to go out to look for some value. And in the process, they just remain. They cannot start a family. They're actually fearing to start a family. So I would advise, time comes that you must push these people out.
What time is that? I mean, I feel like 18 is really young. I mean, I have kids of my own.
You see, immediately you finish university, you start working. Why should you be staying with your parents? Time comes that you should start thinking of how do I start my own life. So like I started, I'll say myself, at age 27, I was married. We had to start a family. It was not easy, but it had to be done. Yeah. But at that time now, I had to deny myself so many things. Because I had to now make sure that this family can be fed, everything, they go to school, you pay school, because the school fees is no longer my parents, it's mine. So I have to meet all those requirements. So in a way, it pushes you, and then how do you generate, and also keep reading. So that also helped me, because now I was able to progress myself education-wise at the university and everything, and that keeps me going. And it really helps in a way. But when you are left like that, because you see these children who are just taking, they know they'll never sleep hungry. They have no wife to look after. They have no children to look after. And you're telling them now, they are not used to it, because they've been taken care of and they're living nice. So why should they go away? So they hang around. So it reached a point that we must try and get them out. Even me, I always advise, get him a house somewhere, let him start staying on his own.
And you pay the rent?
for only 2 months. Once you start making money, you stop paying.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah. Just get them on their own. Because immediately what's going to happen, immediately you put him on his own, he'll start, because of his friends and peer pressure, he'll start getting things for himself. He'll buy a few things here, a few things there, and they say, oh, Daddy is going to. Then you say, yeah, now you stop paying. Because he's earning, he's making money. And the fact that he's out there, he'll be forced, because he can't come back home. Everybody knows you're staying on your own, and now you have your own house. He'll not come back. He'll have to look for a place where he can afford, but not come back home. But if you make sure you give him his room permanently, then he'll not go anywhere. So you must try a way of getting them out. And if you can't get them out, just get them out somewhere, they start living on their own.
That's such a good strategy.
Yes.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I want us to take a short break, about a minute or so, and then we'll come back and we'll take your questions. So thank you so much. Here's something for you to watch.
Thank you.
Life goals, money, investments, they can all feel a bit uncomfortable to talk about, or just flat out taboo. Our course Investable fixes that. It strips away the awkwardness and gives you a financial plan that you can execute intentionally, and gives you a few smart things that you can say next time you have one of those conversations. In this course, we will begin by figuring out your big why and turning that into concrete goals. I mean, really helping you think through what's important to you, what drives you, and how to invest intelligently so that you get there faster in a way that feels true to you and your values. Through this course, you will develop a plan for wealth creation that's linked to your purpose and values. We'll begin by understanding your goals and linking those with your values and aligning them with specific investment opportunities. We will get really practical. For example, you will know when to use money market funds versus real estate investments and how to navigate the risks. We'll look at stocks, gold, bonds, and other assets that can make up your portfolio. Now, we know this can get complex really fast, so we're here to keep it simple so that you live clearer, more confident, and armed with a financial plan that you can execute intentionally. Listen, it doesn't matter how much you make. What matters is how much you keep. I'm Rina Hicks, and this is Investable, your guide to investing with moneywise and Africa's Pocket.
Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back. This is Moneywise Live. My name is Rina Hicks, and we are having such a good conversation. I am joined by Dr. Edward Odundo, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, he's actually also an author and a strategy expert. In fact, Dr. Odundo, that book, I need it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to get it as soon as we're done with this show. The copy, remind me what it's called?
Yeah, I've got the Doctrine of Strategic Planning and the Doctrine of Entrepreneurship. So
Doctrine
there are 2 books,
of Strategic Planning.
And the Doctrine of Entrepreneurship, which is basically in 3 volumes. The first volume is venture creation, how do you start a business? Then the second volume talks about technology and innovation and leadership, creativity and leadership. Then the last talks about legacy and exit. How do you exit a business? How do you exit a business as a family?
That's really awesome.
Yes.
That's really awesome. So I want to now address questions. The last one is a hot one. That last one you talked about where you tell the children, okay, please exit, but I loved the strategy. Somebody's asking, what are some of the biggest financial risks in retirement?
Yeah, the biggest financial risks, people put money, let's say, in shares, and then the price collapses. You cannot do much about it because that's a market movement. And because at that age, you're a bit conservative. And that's the age where you're a bit conservative in terms of risks that you're taking. So you're not ready to take those long-term, those high-yield risks whereby better you get something small, but you are sure of. Maybe a small rent, but you're comfortable than waiting for value accumulation or the price of shares going up, and nothing comes out. I had some shares sometime, and the company just went down, and the shares disappear like that. So you stand a very big risk in terms of the risk. Those are risks you should take when you're young.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So then what kind of investments would you then recommend for those who are retirees?
Now, when you reach that age, you would prefer to have, you're a bit conservative. Property is not very bad. The returns are a bit low, but have that regular income.
Yes.
Okay? And I always say, if you want to, especially property, if you're going to, don't go for high-end. Because high-end, the disadvantage about it is you can go for 3, 4, 5 months without being paid.
Yeah.
But those one-bedroom houses, whatever, you'll never, if there are 50 of them, at least some of them will pay you. At least you'll be getting something small, which is keep you going, than waiting for this lump sum, which will come after very long.
Yeah.
So you need to have maybe a mix, even if you have one end, but have a bit of those low-end rentals. They are a bit better in terms of giving you something on a monthly basis. One person will not be able to pay, another one will pay.
Yes.
And
so you manage your risk in that
Yes, you manage your risks.
So then I guess there's also treasury bonds that you can get into.
Yeah, you can. One thing I've also seen is if you can put your money on bonds, bonds is a good thing. You can even put a long-term bond, and you are sure that every 6 months you are paid. Some of them, normally bonds, some may pay every 6 months. So long as you spread them, so that you find that the repayments are different. Don't put all of it once. Otherwise, it means you wait for 6 months to be paid. But if you spread one today, another one, so that every month something comes.
Yes.
So if you win 5 million, you put it at different times. Buy it at different times so that at least the income comes every month, a little every month. I have 1 or 2 bonds, but I always say, even the money I put in interest, I eat the interest. I don't want the accumulation. I say, let me enjoy my money. So the interest, I don't wait for it to accumulate.
Yeah.
That one is something, it accumulates 2, 3 months, I eat my interest, I leave the principal.
Yeah.
Yes. Enjoy your money.
And I mean, of course, you're at that stage where that's what it's for, right?
Yes.
You waited all this time to be able to do this so that now you can
the interest, you don't wait, it comes, eat your interest.
But that's for retarees. Yes. Now the younger ones, when we invest, we wait. And
no, those are accumulating, they are the accumulative stage,
yes.
And they want to build it up. So, but retirees, you do enjoy your money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your view of money market funds?
Yes. Money market fund has been a big challenge. I think you know that. And okay, the returns can be very high sometimes, but then it depends on how it's structured. The person who you are giving that money, is he investing it long term or short term? Okay. So they borrow short term and they go lending long term. Then you realize they can't make ends meet, and it causes a lot of problems. But it's not a bad investment, but you've seen the challenges that sometimes come with it. Because we know of, because some of them they tell you very high interest rates. So they pay you very high interest rates, but they're lending in very long-term investments, and they're not able to pay.
But I know now, I mean, after those sorts of things have happened, we've had very good regulations from the CMA.
Yes.
And those who are regulated by the CMA actually have a criteria that they must abide by when it comes to investing, particularly for money market funds.
Correct.
Short-term opportunities and ones that don't have high risk. So deposits with banks and tier 1 banks specifically, treasury bills. And so you find now,
I would say the problem has not been the regulation, it's us, the greed that we have. You are told this thing is risky, but you don't care. You just want to say, I'll get 18%, yes. So they go for unregulated.
It's true.
Yes, and immediately they go for unregulated and they cannot get it, they go back to CMA. CMA say, but this was not regulated. That's where the problem is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's true. Okay. Awesome. There was another question. Yeah, so somebody's asking, what would you advise the parents who think their children are key to their retirement? And I think this is a child asking about their parents, so their parents see them as their retirement plan. What would you advise those parents and also the children?
I always say that don't take your children as your retirement plan, because it doesn't work. And that's why I say, please invest in your children, not for them.
Invest in your children, but not for them.
Yes, investing in them is building them to be self-sufficient, they drive themselves. But if you invest for them, you go through that gathering situation where you're buying for them everything. And that's where your problem starts. But if you invest in them, they're able to drive the show. Like now, I believe your parents invested in you, that's why you're doing what you're doing. You don't have to go to them. So you're able to make them self-driven. Because if you're not self-driven, you can't even grow.
Let's just talk about that for a moment. The whole process of parenting to make your children self-driven.
Yes.
What are some of the things that, from your own experience and others that you've watched who've gone ahead of you, what are some of the things that you've seen them do?
There's an example I always give of a child of 10 years, a friend of mine, and because the father normally takes him around to show him the assets that he has. So finally the child asked my daddy, what's my share of your wealth?
A 10-year-old.
10-year-old. What question you say? You ask him, why are you asking me that question? He said, you know what? I don't trust my brothers. I don't think they'll give me my share. So you see where his mindset is. The mindset is, this is our wealth. It's ours. Not even the owner of the wealth.
But he must have had that from his dad. This is ours.
Yeah, you're taking him around and say, these are my wealth, this is, which is not a bad thing, but then you put him in a situation where he realizes that he really doesn't have to do much. You see, he doesn't have to struggle for anything. He's only going to wait for that. So it reaches a point that you must make sure that you tell them now, please, start making your own money. This is mine and my wife's. You know? So but if I'm not there, it's a different story. But for now, try and build yourself. At least I'll give you support. If you start a business, I can give you support. But you don't just sit there expecting. Because if you start a business and you need support, that one you can get. Because I can see you are self-driven and you are ready to take risks. And it's okay, fine. You start, and when you are through, you can always pay back. Okay? One thing that when you read the 7 points which we have in the Jewish phenomenon, they raise funds, and then in a family, you can borrow, but you refund.
Oh, but you refund?
Yes.
Or you have to refund?
Yeah, so that it helps somebody else. No interest. Because you can't get the same, you can't get that loan from the bank. No. So I can come, borrow 100,000, no interest, go and sell your products. Even if you're competing with somebody who has borrowed the same money from the bank, he has to pay interest. So you're able to sell at a better price than this one.
Right.
Because the family has been accumulating a little money in within and it's available for you, but you must return. So you are put in a situation whereby whatever you are given, you must pay.
You must pay back.
So you know from day one that I'll pay back. And it's not for you, it's for generations to come.
So for the children who have parents who are like, yeah, and by the way, you know, I paid for your school fees and now you need to take care of me, which is not a bad thing.
Yes.
But it, you know, it can get a bit crippling for children who perhaps don't have as much wealth as they would like to be able to share with their own family and their parents. What advice would you have for them?
The parents, the children were?
So the children, there's an expectation from their parents.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
So parents are now retired in their 70s.
They expect that they'll be taken.
Okay, and there's an expectation that from the parents that the children will look after them.
Yes.
How should
that's really one.
Plan for that? Yeah.
One thing I would say is that's very important because, like I have retired. Yeah, if I sit back that I'm waiting for my children to take care of me, it will not work. These are guys who are starting their own lives. What we went through, they're trying to take care of themselves, and now you put pressure on them that they take care of you.
Right.
And that is why it's good to you plan yourself, knowing very well I'll be retired, I'll be taking care of my medical, I'll be able to take care of my other expenses without having to go back to my children because they might not be in a position to take care of me. So it's for you to plan now the way we did, and we take care of ourselves. Because at that age you really don't need much because they've gone out, most of them. Then you are able to feed yourself. Because if you sit back that they'll take care of you as they used to do before, it doesn't work anymore because they're going through a lot of challenges and you put a lot of pressure on them, it becomes also a problem on their side. So it's us as parents also to make sure that we take care of ourselves. Yes, you don't sit there waiting for them.
Waiting for them.
No.
Okay, let's look at them. There's so many more. How much, this is a quick one, how much should you have saved before retirement?
I always say that you should save what can give you close to 30% of what you used to earn.
30% is not little?
At least minimum.
Okay, minimum.
30%, yes.
So if you earn
because you see at that time, most of the time you don't have a lot of expenses. as you used to do before.
Right.
Because if you had a mortgage, you've said you've paid off the loan. I don't pay mortgage, I only pay water and electricity.
So these statistics that were given by people who are in actual spaces, people who are analysts and experts who do these numbers, they normally say a replacement ratio of 70. They normally say
because they always say replacement ratio of about 30 to 40%.
It's 30 to 40?
Yeah, that's a replacement
It's enough.
ratio. But they always say that at least you should be able to.
Oh, as a minimum.
Because that's the minimum. Because you very rare you'll get what you used to get 100%. You can't.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's a lot of your income is not very low, and as I told you, pension is very low. The returns are very low. So you try and because you can't be at the same level that you are. But if you can get some income, at least 30% minimum, it's better than nothing.
So there's somebody asking, what advice would you give older siblings who are looking after their families? So they have their own families, but they're looking after their father's family. They're looking after other family members and they're struggling with that. What would you say to them?
In your culture we in African culture is different. You find that you're still expected to look after you never disown your family. Okay, and you find that you have to take care of them. But then you should also ask yourself, these people you're looking after, what can they do for themselves? They should not just sit there that you've gone to the village and say, what have you come up with? Show me. Can we share? The other day I had some students who are doing some carpet washing, and they're brought up in a home, and then they came, they cleaned the place. Then I asked them, okay, so we have friends there who don't want to do anything. When we come from doing these things as students, they want us to share with them the little. So even when we ask them, let's go together, they don't want. That laziness, people have that culture must change. People must be able to do something. Because you see, the problem we have also is the youngsters who have been brought up in a certain way, lifestyle, they don't want to do certain jobs. They feel, no, me, I can't do that job. I must I must be employed. So they say they're jobless, unemployed. How can you be unemployed and have two hands? People can even do shoe shine and they start somewhere.
It's true.
But they say, me, I cannot be a shoe shiner. Why can you not be? You look at people who go to work even in the US as students. They do everything. They depart from going to school. They're working in a hotel as a security person.
Right.
You see that?
Yes. They're
working in another place as they're cleaning plates and everything. But the ones in Kenya said no.
So how do you communicate to the family and say, look, I think you need to start doing something?
Yeah, but you see, when you're always giving, they say they find, I'll survive.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
But when they tell them, no, you people now, time has come that you must move out. Because what I see, practically you find, because your parents is there and the brother is staying with them, so they know you must feed your parents. So he'll eat under your parents. But if your parents now moves out, you will not continue feeding the guy. You will stop.
Yeah. So he has to find for himself.
He must fend for himself.
It's
and
true.
then you tell him, start doing something.
Yeah.
And there's so much to be done, I always say. There's so much to be done. Because if you have two hands, there's so much you can do.
Yeah.
And these are people you'll find they even have a home. They cannot even go and grow anything because they're used to, my dad will do it. But for how long?
True.
For how long? That's why when the parents passes on, it's chaos. They sell everything that was there, then they end up again having nothing.
Yeah.
See, I had a case whereby when I was in RBA, this gentleman, a policeman, he had bought a house on 10-day estate, so he believed that was the asset for the wife when he's not there. He passed on, so the wife used to get rent from that house. The boy said, no, we are jobless. This house must be sold so that we share the money, and then we can start business. Because they're saying, once we share, you can go to the village, you can share, and then we'll be taking care of you because now we'll have started a business. They sold the house. Today, those boys are back with her at home.
Oh, no.
In fact, the person taking care of them is a daughter. But she feels so bad that she feeds the mother, and these guys are eating. And they already sold the house, which this parent had left for the wife to take care of her. And that's why he says it's good to have a pension, which is perpetual, then she'll be deciding, at least it will come, than property which can be pushed to sell. And so many parents have been pushed to sell. That's why you need an income like a pension which they have no control over. They can only take it the day it comes.
Wow. This is a subject that needs a lot of conversations with families and people to just be honest about some of the pain points with regard to finances and the future, and having those difficult conversations of I cannot continue to support you.
Correct.
These are the limits that you get to. Helping children learn that you also have to work for your own.
Correct.
I will support you, or create a fund. I love the idea about the fund where we create a fund where everybody gets to borrow
and they pay back.
Zero interest, but they pay back so that they can help everybody.
And pay back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that gives them an advantage. Yes, we do business with you, me, I'll borrow from the bank, you have borrowed from the family, we are selling the same product, your price will be good. And then you pay back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not your money, it's for the next group. So you build it up.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we've come to the end of the show.
Thank you very much, Rina.
And I want you to just a parting shot, just the final words that you would have for people out there who, what would you say to them?
What I would say to young people, you are born to do great things. So the success is it's not a journey, it's a destination. Thank you.
It's a journey. Success is a journey, or it's a destination?
It's a destination.
It's a destination.
Yes.
Great. Enjoy the journey.
Yes.
And it's a process.
Correct.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure hosting you, and thank you so much for the nuggets of wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the show. I am so grateful that you were able to join us. Continue to watch them, share, subscribe, so that more can benefit from this content. It's so important for us to be a financially secure people. And so it's important for our future and for our children's future. Have a great evening and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.